Hello everyone, I'm Anthony, the Eclectic Chef. Welcome back again to my English kitchen. Today we're going to make lamb shank ragout. We're going to serve it over pappardelle. The meat cuts available to you when you want really rich sauces or stews, for example, are really pretty limited. Probably the best one, in all frankness, is oxtail. It's also the most expensive by a good bit. Oxtail's great because the ratio of tasty meat to connective tissue and bone is pretty low. So you get a very rich sauce or gravy when you braise them or cook them. But they're expensive. $10 and up a pound in the States. My substitute that I use a lot are cross-cut beef shanks. If I buy those from my Latin market, in the States I'm paying $3 to $5 a pound. And one good thick cross-cut will make a very rich ragout, soup, and I throw one into my beef stock pot too. But today we're using lamb shanks. I have two of them. I like lamb, so we're going to try a different ragout, some slightly different seasonings, but not many. It's going to be very simple, cooked in a mirepoix, carrot, celery, onion, tomatoes, a splash of Shaoxing rice wine from China. I have some to use up, but Shaoxing, my favourite is Newer Hong brand, but I can't buy that here. Shaoxing has a taste probably closest, if you've never had a taste of it, to Armontillado sherry. And it has a very different flavour in soups and stocks, and ragout in this case, and I think it will pair very, very well with the lamb in our ragout. A little bit unconventional, but I think it'll work out. Okay, why lamb shanks? Well, I'll show you this pair of bad boys in a minute, but they've got lots of meat, which will be fork and spoon tender after an hour in the Instant Pot. If you don't have an Instant Pot, just double the cooking time and do it slowly in a Dutch oven or a big pan. There's no mystery to this. And I'll show you them. They've got meat, two good bits of bone, and along the bone there's some great connective tissue lined into the meat. So again, we'll get a very rich, flavourful ragout. Let me show you what these lamb shanks look like before we even think about cooking them. Okay, so here are our lamb shanks we're going to cook today. As you can see, has a bone which runs basically the full length of the shank. There's some very dense meat. Up here, then we've got this, which is basically a big triangle of meat, which will cook down very tender, plus this denser meat here. If we look on the other shank, dense meat, triangle, bone with marrow running all the way through. It's going to give us a very rich sauce and stock for our ragout. So now let's have a quick look at the other fairly simple ingredients. Okay, so here's our mirepoix, or as the sous chefs love to call it, our meerkat. And I hasten to add that no meerkats were included in our ragout today. Carrot, one large, 3 sticks of celery trimmed, 3 cloves of garlic roughly chopped. Onion, I've got half a normal medium-sized onion and a large shallot. I really like including shallots in my stews, sauces, soups. I think they really give an additive flavour to the garlic and the onion. Give it a try if it runs to your budget and see if you agree. And we've got some dried oregano here. I may, after we've cooked the shanks an hour or 2 hours stovetop, take an immersion blender to the rest of the sauce just to see what sort of consistency I get out of the sauce. I'll probably make a small roux with the mirepoix just to thicken our sauce up a bit. You won't need to do that if you're doing it stovetop, but the Instant Pot does not thicken sauces very well. We'll take a quick look at our other ingredients. We have, left to right, Shaoxing rice wine, tomatoes. These are with salt, unfortunately, so I won't be adding any salt to this recipe. A little bit of Maggi sauce, 1-2 shakes max, and 1 or 2 tablespoons of fish sauce. Normally I only ever cook with red boat fish sauce. If I want any here in England, I'm going to have to get it from Amazon because I can't see it on the shelf anywhere, which is a shame. It really is the best fish sauce you can possibly use. We'll have a chapter one day just devoted to red boat. So anyway, those are our ingredients. After we've cooked everything, we will be adding some cavallo nero chopped and some mushrooms just to add a little body to the sauce. And the cavallo nero, which you wouldn't normally put in a ragout, is there because A, I like it, B, it will add some texture, and C, it will add vegetables to this dish so we don't have to offer them on the side or with a salad. Definitely a one-pot meal. First thing first, we're going to brown the shanks a little. A, because what little Maillard reaction we get here will add to the flavour of the ragout, but also I'm trying to see if I can render a little of the fat off early just to help flavour the remaining ingredients. While I've got the mirepoix softening, I just want to take a quick shot and show you what I mean when I talk about the connective tissue that's hidden in these lamb shanks. The bone, marrow, all these dark lines, it's all connective tissue. It's going to help us generate a very, very rich gelatinous stock with lots of collagen too. Here our mirepoix is nicely softening, lovely fragrance coming off the onions and the garlic. We'll add a little bit of flour to make a roux, and then we'll put the shanks on top and add the liquids. So here are our lamb shanks sitting on top of our mirepoix and a little bit of roux. I did put a sheet of Kombu, small sheet of Kombu under them. That will help generate glutamate during cooking. I'll remove it after, which will enhance our flavour profile of the finished ragout. Now we're just going to pour all our liquid ingredients over the top, pop the top on and cook this for an hour. All liquids in. I'm going to put the top on, cook this on high pressure for an hour, after which the meat should be just falling off the bone. So here are our shanks after an hour on high. I'm going to pull these out to get the meat off them, but then I think I am going to drop the immersion blender to smooth this sauce before we add the mushrooms and kale, which I will show you now. Here are the sliced crimini mushrooms and cavallo nero chopped up that I'm going to add to the sauce once we've had the immersion blender in there. These little body beyond the meat, and the kale, cavallo nero. These were Tesco's finest, if you're familiar with English supermarkets. Tesco's finest isn't very, honestly. I had to spend quite a bit of time going through and pulling all the stalks off this, and it was supposed to be chopped and ready for use. Not really. But anyway, it'll taste good and it'll all work out well in the end. Here are the mushrooms and kale added to the sauce after I've run the immersion blender through it. Nice and rich, has a pleasant consistency. I may want to thicken this up just a little more with a little bit of tomato paste, but for now, I think we're good. While this is doing, I am going to try and get the meat off the shank bones. So here's our chopped lamb, waiting to be put into the sauce and reheated. I have to tell you, yes, I did try a bit. It's tender, juicy, and very, very tasty. Not a big fan of cheese with lamb sauces on pasta, so we're going to sprinkle some of this flat leaf parsley over our plated dishes. I'm going to hold this away so that the lens doesn't steam up, but this is our sauce. I did add, the meat's been put back, I did add a little tomato puree. I think it's perfect consistency. We're just waiting for the pappardelle to cook now and we'll serve up, and I'm looking forward to this, I'll tell you. So here's our pappardelle with our lamb ragout served up with a sprinkling of parsley. Certainly looks good. I'll give you an after action report and let you know how it eats. Hello again, everyone. So let's have a quick run through of how this meal worked out. Well, let me start by saying the sous chef has very Catholic tastes most of the time. She's not had this recipe before. She sat down to the table, loved the smell, took one bite and proclaimed it absolutely delicious. I have to say, she's right. This sauce, I will tell you, is very, very rich. We've got 5 portions with pappardelle out of this. Now, if you look at them, they're not the biggest portions. In fact, we'll show you a picture of one. I'll superimpose it up here while I'm talking. But because the sauce is so rich, it's absolutely filling, trust me. We can put pasta away, but we'd had enough to eat. Now, the other thing that I think I would emphasize here is getting the immersion blender into the sauce before we added the final components of the mushroom and the cavolo black kale into the sauce along with the chopped lamb shank. That left us with quite a pleasantly thick but not overly thick sauce that really coated the pappardelle well and carried both the richness of the lamb shanks and the flavors of the tomatoes, the Shaoxing rice wine, the carrot, celery, onion, garlic, shallot, and so on. So I really would recommend that if you can, you either blend or immersion blend the sauce before you put the meat and anything else you add in asides. Just a couple of silly asides. I've encouraged you to go and buy a bottle of Shaoxing rice wine. Make sure if you're looking for Chinese rice wine, you buy Shaoxing, not Michiu, which it'll taste completely different. And I use for taking the odours or strong tastes out of food, but it isn't something I'd add to a sauce. Lastly, kale. If I were to do this again, I would buy just regular long stem kale, black kale, cavolo, because it'd be a lot easier to cut the stalks off than having to go through Tesco's finest not chopped kale and cut all the little pieces of stem off it. So with that, I hope you enjoyed watching us build this lamb shank ragout, and if you did, I'd really appreciate if you'd like, subscribe, and perhaps share with your friends. In the meantime, let's all have a great day in our kitchens.